in time, never ate nothing. It's really only 9 like a fake thumb.
I don't know how they living, but I bet we live better. Shit, I don't care how they get into.
So we in the building right now. This is For the Record. A show brought to you by your boy Jay Kasai. Only bringing in my absolute favorite people who do things that are really dope. And they're usually from the IE, but not always. We got a special case in the building here. We're fucking with Tru Lee. What's good, man?
What's up, man? What's up? How's everything?
Things are great, bro. Things are beautiful.
That's a blessing.
You're one of my last ever episodes. I don't know which order they're going to come out in, but I had like a bucket list of people I had to get in front of a camera, and you were one of them.
That's dope.
Yeah, but that's probably mostly because you're one of the last people I learned about from the scene, like that's up and coming. Tell me more about that. How long you been doing music, and who are you? Why is your name Tru Lee? Tell me all kinds of stuff.
Well, shit. I am an IE artist, I guess. Born in LA, raised in IE, been back and forth. Started doing music, I would say, like, I think it's all, like, you know, people say it's always in you. I feel like I've always had it. But I think taking it seriously was probably around 11, 12.
Shit, that's early.
Like, that was, like, just had a passion for it. And then at 13, like, you know, we were talking to the homie earlier. He was saying, like, I was just in school and one day got up and was like, who raps? I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm trying to figure out what everybody
I know,
else
your
is doing.
teacher was sick.
Oh, for sure. He's probably like, what are you doing? So, you know, but it honestly worked out, and I guess, like, it built a legacy. And then the name was from, like, I guess, like, we were in a group a long time ago. Probably it was like me, one of my other homies, December, Bobby J. Thompson, my cousin, and then my homie Free. And we had a group called Transformers, and in that group I was like a singer more.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, my name was J Love or J Lovely. So J Love.
Oh man, you was in
sure.
that pretty Ricky bag.
Bro,
Jeez.
I'm talking like, but mind you, this is young. This is super young. This might be even like, yeah, like 10, 11, 12.
Sheesh.
Like, we was really like young as shit. Like,
You're ahead of your time, man.
Just
I was
trying to
thinking
make
about
stuff.
making anything like that. I was making box clubhouses and forts.
for sure.
You making whole albums.
No, yeah, for us it was funny because we would just be just so interested, or I guess in awe about the art and things like that. So we would, a lot of the time we would have Audacity. I don't know if you remember that program. from back in the
You ain't
day.
a real up and coming artist if you didn't use
Yeah,
Audacity.
you don't know shit about that. And if you didn't use uTorrent to find like ripped beats,
Yeah.
and then going through that whole uTorrent process just to make a song.
Yeah, I've been there, bro.
You know it,
Yeah.
So you know what it is, and it's like there was a whole artistry to that, and I think that's where it built our love for it. And then, you know, at one point it's like you need to make some type of money off this shit, or you got to do something. You got to do something, and if you're passionate about it, you'll find a way to make this like have income. So yeah, I think it started at like 11, 12. From there, got in cahoots with the homies, and we just kept making stuff, and then I kind of did my own thing, and I got signed to Warner Brothers at 15. So I was with them.
It makes a lot of sense that like it's so rare for someone at that young age to be like, I'm making a product, I'm making music.
For sure.
And Warner Brothers is like, oh.
Yeah. And how I got it, well, my cousin was a bodyguard for a manager that was working with Warner, and he was like, they were just having a studio day because he didn't know what he want, and then he was like, hey, have your cousin pull. I pulled up, did my thing. When they say like time meets talent or time meets preparation, or however they say it, that's basically what happened. And then I signed a songwriting deal with Warner, which was a blessing, because at that time, if I had signed as an artist, I think I would have that story of like, a 360 deal, I got fucked out this contract, or like I couldn't do this, or I couldn't do that. But no, it was a blessing to, you know, be in a situation where I got to see the industry for what it was, got to like build around it, and then see where I stood in that game. Yeah. And that's where we sort of been from there growing. Yeah.
And so you went through a label experience, which are usually horror stories for most people. And you went, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, 100%. I think like I said, I think with the passion, with the music, even that, it did have that sort of sour taste in my mouth after dealing with that. But I also saw the beauty in it too, I guess. and it was fun. Like, it was cool. I can't take, like, it was a learning lesson. I was young as shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, now I look back at it, I'm blessed that I went through that experience to learn, and even looking at the industry a certain way to where I'm not so in awe by it.
Yeah.
And you should be, just so that you can take it to those levels and get to a certain stature if that's what you want. But I think sometimes people look at the game a certain way and they can't separate the business with the art. And that's, I think, the most important thing. If you're gonna like make it or do something big in it, you have to separate those two and know that those two hold equal value. Yeah. And people try to say, 90%. I mean, I've heard both. I've heard 90% business, 10% talent. I've heard 90% talent, 10% business. It's really both. Like, you need a little bit of both to try to make it in this industry for real. And I mean, I haven't made it, but
you understand what you're trying to do, though.
For sure. For sure.
And what gives you the confidence? I always ask this to people, usually off camera, but I'm going to ask you on camera. What gives you the confidence to know this is something you have the capacity to do? Like, what makes you go, people will like the music, I can make a living off this, I can... Obviously, the simplest way to put it is people will witness your art and support it and love it. What makes you feel that? How do you have that confidence?
I think it's just through experience, actually trying, because a lot of us sometimes as artists have like this facade that people want to see us, and that just because we're artists, they want to be in our crowds. But I had to step out, just like I'm sure you have to step out. You have to like be in crowds of 3 people that might not fuck with you. You need to hear somebody say you're whack or like this, that, and the other. But if you do it enough and you vet yourself enough and learn, you start learning your rooms. You start learning reactions from crowds. You start learning how to be an actual MC. You start learning what that even means. And yeah, I think you just become I think that how I know is because when I see the response and even see the growth of what we've done, I see the change, and I've seen people change from this. And I think like what we said off camera, like I told you, a lot of fans don't know like what the fuck they want. So,
yeah, they don't.
And that's just through experience of me watching people be an observer of other artists that are big, where like, 1 month they're telling me, you need to go listen to this person, you need to go listen. And then I become a fan and they're like, oh, I don't listen to this person anymore, you need to go listen to this. So then I'm like, oh, okay, so like you're gonna change up anyway. The fan base is gonna change up. You have to be an ever-changing artist as well. You can't think that, oh, this thing got me on or this thing will get me on, I have to stay here. You have to be evolving. And I think evolving comes with loving it, like getting better with it. But yeah, I think I just know by the constant work and people telling me that it's like, oh, this is sick, and taking that with a grain of salt and just keep building on what I love.
So I've listened to the music now, and obviously I like it somehow because you're here, right? So, but when I listen to your music, I don't hear that you have the same influences as most people within Southern California, even. You sound Midwest, East Coast. You sound jazzy. You sound abstract in some ways. Who do you listen to, or do you listen to other hip hop artists at all?
I do. Yeah. I definitely do. I think it's kind of hard for me to put hip hop in a specific category because I look at music in such a wide spectrum and they all bleed into each other no matter what genre, I guess you do. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, I listen to this specific portion of music in this. I think sometimes in a phase of life, I'll be just say a month, I might be listening to this. Just like I said, I change up too. So it's like, I might be listening to this artist for this, but I might have went to visit my family in Texas and I enjoyed it, and I'm listening to country for this week. You know what I'm saying, or something. But and I think that's just me, and I don't really have like a straight influence. It's always just like a bunch of things. My pops raised me on jazz, like John LaPonte, Kenny G, like those type of people. And I grew to that, always going to jazz festivals. And then I started seeing through that how hip hop bled through there. And my dad was like, you need to listen to, Doggy Style and all that type of stuff. And that age, I'm like, and he's bumping it from, I'm listening to this shit like, damn, like, what is this? But I understood that all of this, he was trying to like teach me that all of this stuff sort of correlates and it all like makes sense, and music can, take form of whatever as long as you lead it, So.
Yeah, you just gotta have control of your vision. And for me, it's always been it reminds me a lot of what you're talking about reminds me of people who make art that isn't music. So like a painter doesn't make a painting thinking, what do people want to see?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a painter creates a painting and he probably sells it for $300
For sure.
right?
For sure.
But 20 years later it's selling for 10K, 20K because people didn't know that they wanted to see it.
For sure.
You just got to make it.
And sometimes
you know?
they invest in that character. Like they're
Yeah.
invested in their story. They're invested
Right.
in like
That's part of the art. That's part of the
100%.
art.
And I want to tell all the artists out there to not take that like as a grain of salt. That like people want to see your experience. Like
Yeah.
your everyday life. You don't have to fabricate it because one, you're not like everybody else. So you have to. You know, you're gonna have a different story, and people are gonna want to see it. So just live in that fantasy of like, I'm an artist. I'm bigger than life, and I guarantee you'll get eyes, people, because people want to believe in something. So it's like, you gotta be that. You gotta be that for sure.
And you did like you got, so let me backpedal a little bit. You invest a lot of detail and time into more than just making songs in the studio. So I see you doing short films and live performances on video, and you're treating your live show differently than a lot of people might treat their live show. Is that just an experience thing? Is that a passion? Is this part of the album also? Like, what's your thought process there?
I think for that it's like I know what music has meant to me, and even watching my favorite artist and watching what they maybe have done or haven't done. And I know as a fan, the things that I have wanted and I have seen that, you know, appeased my appetite to the artistry and the things that I wish that they could have done. So I think I try to take that and I try to use that to keep a balance, I guess, to feed the people, to be like, hey, I know they might want this, so like let me try to feed them like this. Maybe they might not want a whole album with me rapping 15 songs. Let me give them 3 songs of me rapping, and then I'm actually cut the rest of the album, and we're gonna do like an in life experience where people can do that. And I think for me it's just however music's carrying me as the vessel, I'm gonna just do it. I mean, you can call me Tru Lee, you can call me by my government name or however we go about it, but I think in a wider aspect, music is carrying me as a vessel. So it's like anything I do is really through the music, or I guess through God, through a higher power, and then I'm just trying to distribute it as humanly as I can.
Right,
like
make it digestible.
Exactly. Because, you know, sometimes we can get so much in our creative bag where the general public can't understand it and only we understand it. And sometimes I think in a long journey of that, like in a long journey of music or your timeline, that can make sense. But you want to make something that can relate to the people, because this whole thing is about community. Yeah. Even just like making art, or even like learning what people dislike or what you like, or like that type of thing. So,
yeah. And I mean, something I haven't told you, because I was waiting for this cameras to turn on. So someone brought your music to my attention, and it was Cam Archer. And Cam Archer was like, "Yo, check out this dude, Tru Lee."
Shout out Cam.
Shout out to Cam Archer, who he's on my bucket list. You know, I see him every single week. We never do this. I'm like, I want to talk to you. Talk to you all the time. But I was like, you know what? Just like as a fan of him and a supporter of him, I should do one. So I was like, we'll do one. Sure.
That'll be a great one too.
Yeah, but Cam's so new. If he says check someone out, I'm like, okay. I'm going in like this is gonna be dope. That's for sure.
Cool. That's cool.
And I put your music on, and I was like, oh, he sounds like he's been doing music a while.
That's fire.
You sounded evolved. Is probably the best word for it, because it wasn't just 16/8, 16/8. It wasn't just typical production or tight beats. And I was like, that's crazy that someone I hadn't heard of is around here making this. And I draw a lot of comparisons from it to like a Saba, who has a lot of jazz experiences. I think his dad's a jazz musician or something. And he's got a lot of different tones, flows, cadences, kind of like you do. And that is not for a regular ear sometimes. No. You know, people will listen and they're like, wow, he's good. But they won't be like, I love this song. They'll know how good you are. Yeah. Because a normal ear can struggle to get a palate for that.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
But we also talked about this off camera, how you were saying, like, you know, you were around the people that they mix better than most people. the average listener doesn't understand that they're actually loving the song more because it's mixed better, and there's actual frequencies coming out that vibrations. When people talk, it's the vibe, that's legit. Like, legitimately, music is being distributed through vibration. So when you're, yes, the song that's distorted and that's coming off of this way and that way, yes, it might be dope on like the main, like, you know, I guess the ground level, if it just has that spirit, but to carry to like a bigger platform or anything like that, you need to have the right mixes. You need to have like the right, you need to know the technical shit, like you said, when you were like 16 by 16, like the verse, you need to know, like, does my verse need 8 bars and then I need to go bridge and then I need a 16 at the end, or do I need all 16s and then I need to break this down into a chorus, and need to know the difference between a hook, chorus, and those are different things too. So it's like, I think getting technical with it, like, you can actually win a lot more in appeasing. It's not as hard
to
make
feed
great
people,
shit, for sure,
you know?
for sure, exactly.
And it's like you have to learn the rules to break the rules. I feel like you've got to the break the rules part finally. You know, like, I'm listening, going, "Oh, he's breaking the rules." Or like, what? I'm like, how long has he been doing this for?
For
you know?
And I went to school. Like, I went to school for like music there. I graduated for audio. Like, I have my bachelor's in audio engineering.
Oh, so that's why.
Yeah, it's like and for the simple fact, like, when I first started, even when I was signed, it was all about the aesthetic of music and like what. I mean, I love music, obviously, but I didn't know I loved it so much that I needed to learn. Like, I would get so frustrated that if I didn't know this, I need to learn it. So I went to go learn it, and I went to school for it. And now, like, when I'm in certain rooms, or when somebody is breaking down engineering, or, you know, this reverb, or even having, like, you know, different distortions, or like, you can't have this channel over this because it's free. Like, I learned that so that when I do make my music, like you said, I can break rules so that the average listener, it's still on the rule book, but they can't hear it. Right. It sounds refreshing. It sounds, you know, new, because ain't nothing new really under the sun.
No,
we're
nothing at all.
We're not doing anything crazy, so.
Yeah. Which, I mean, kind of like you're saying, engineering is really just how many bad frequencies can I take out and how many good frequencies can I enhance.
Exactly.
That's literally mixing, right? Can I get the most out of this? And let's get as little of that as we can.
100%.
And if you can really make something good at the same time, like rap on beat, you know, do a
all
few basic things.
Technicals, yeah, for sure.
You're going to make a great record. Even if it's an average record.
100%.
And that's 100%. Something we laugh about, because we're like, man, if we try to just please people, the songs take 15 minutes to make.
For sure.
But if you try to please yourself and maybe your peers, that's when things take more time.
For sure, which is a fine line.
A
fine line.
How do you define yourself in that aspect when you're making music? Are you thinking of the people, or are you really in your artist bag? And this is a spectrum, obviously. No one is solely themselves.
No, for sure.
And no one's only the people.
100%.
Where are you on that spectrum? How close are you to just trying to please people versus just please yourself?
That I think what's been beautiful too over this last like 2 years, I found the balance between not pleasing people too much, but knowing that you have to.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like, pleasing yourself, but not being too much in your head to where you don't put shit out, or like you don't do anything. Like, because like I said, you have to vet yourself. You have to know what. Even like I said with the live stuff, you know, knowing what rooms or whatever, but also as an artist, you have to know what beats even sound good over your fucking voice, or what time does your vocal sound better over this beat. Like, if you're in this mood, should you do a up tempo beat to where your voice can catch the higher pitches and things, or should you slow it down? You know, like those type of things. So, I think just knowing those things are important, very important.
And you said you also produce?
I have for sure. I think I step back because like I treat the experience as like I want to bring somebody in and do things and try to like not just have my mindset on it, because I'm writing everything. So when I bring other people in, I want to bring another creative aspect. So producing is like a way I do that, but I've done it and I want to do it more. I just need to sit down and do it, and then I have the time really to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Talk to me about your creative process. So this is something for me, this is probably the last 4 to 5 years I've really, really thought hard on this more. And it's when you're in the studio, historically speaking, I'd say 95% of music history, music is made in groups. It doesn't matter if there's one face of it or if there's a 5-man band.
For sure.
Music is made in groups. There's an engineer, there's musicians, there's writers, there's vocalists, there's, you know. Hip hop is, over the last 30 years or so, has turned it into, I did this all myself. Mixed it, produced it, wrote it, rapped, like everything. And we're like, I could tell. Yeah. What if you brought in a guy, and what if you brought in a guy who just makes beats 7 days a week? That's
legit.
And you just rapped. What would happen if your mind could just liberate itself of that?
For sure.
What would happen to the music?
And that's how I go into it. My mind, my thought process. It's like, I can do that. I can say, as a human being, we are very capable of doing a lot.
Yeah.
He can, you can, I can produce, write, act, shoot the video. We can do all that shit. But we all do have special gifts. So it's like, and it's not to say that special gift takes away from our other gifts, but there are things that we can help each other maximize on. And sometimes people need to know that, like, you have to learn your position also in your timing, not just know your position, because sometimes you can know your position and that could change.
Yeah,
because you could be in your position, you could be the engineer, but what if you do write a good song and you learn that process and you can make good music? Go be the artist, go run that up. And then maybe the artist needs to be your engineer, learn what it sounds like. I think once you learn your position and play your position, it's like you're unstoppable, like just knowing everything. And
describe your perfect session to me, to make the perfect album with a limitless budget. How many people are there helping you come up with melodies, flows, cadences, verses? Obviously you're pinning most of it, but like for me, when I'm in the studio, when I work with like Ogosh or Nabian, we're doing melodies together. For sure. There's not words. We're just coming up with melodies. And those hooks are so organic and natural. 100%. And then the first 7 years of me making music was me alone in a dark room. You're forcing melodies, you're digging hard for it. And I was like, man, I worked so hard alone to make maybe like a 6 out of 10 quality chorus or whatever. And then now they're effortless with a group of people in the room. Where's your head at with how many people are in the studio with you? What roles are they playing in it? And what are the things where you go, I don't need nobody here. This is my bag. Like, where's your head at?
Most of the time I like definitely having the homies there. If we're in project mode, I usually only like the people that are working on that project there. I don't like having, even if you are my close homie or something, I usually don't like having people there because, I don't know, not say the influence. I like to get the influence after so that I can go back and change the song. But I want to get this natural, whatever I'm feeling right off the bat, so we can do that. And sometimes it's just a distraction. But like my close homies, they only make music. So they're going to be in the studio with me. And the cadences and stuff, we might throw back and forth, but I think we all grew up, like all my close friends, like my homie Free, December, Karama.
That's a dope name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you guys all got dope names.
We're very fucking like competitive. Yeah. So it's always been like, oh no, you're not gonna give me that bar. You're not gonna give me that verse.
Well, even that in itself is a way to grow in the room.
For sure.
I'm not gonna say names here, but I was just having a conversation where I told someone, that guy over there is hyper talented, but you can tell there's not steel in the room sharpening his steel when he makes music. He sounds like he's talented, but he's alone.
That's true.
And when you're with another dope MC,
for sure,
you just show up a little more. You know, you just show up more. You're more present, and even if I'm not saying you guys are like, when you guys all write verses, you probably all get quiet and bang out verses, right? But in the back of all your heads, you're going, "Ooh, I heard his little mumble. I'm gonna kill his shit." That's an energy, man. Like 100%. You need that, and I think anyone who takes pride in being an MC needs at least that
for sure
to become great.
For sure, and I think it starts with your friends. You need that, like, friendly competition to help each other get better, and you guys have to be honest with each other, man. Like, homies, my closest homies be like, that shit's whack, I'm about to kill you on this shit. Or, damn, my shit's whack and your shit's better, I gotta like work on it. Or we're just honest with each other like that. So it makes the music better, but then it's also helped us be like that in other rooms, like rooms that there aren't our homies, where we're like,
you have comfort.
It's like, okay, we're rapping with A, B, C, and D, but okay, whatever. If they want to, like, it's not a pressure to be in the studio with a bunch of people, or to get your idea off, because my homies are gonna be the biggest judge. They fuck with me. They fuck with it, and not in the sense of like, oh, they're like, oh, they're just saying yes men to everything. Like my homies are really on some like, I don't fuck with it, and then like, fix it or do something better. So we came from that cloth where we've tried to just keep getting better and better and better and better and better, and then we've also realized like, damn, there's no such thing as being the best. You have to always just keep getting better,
right?
And like you said, it's still sharpening steel. We're just in there constantly making each other better. Even if we're not in the studio, it's like, hey bro, here's this song. Nigga might not say, damn, that song better than mine, but I'm about to send him this other song. I'm about to work on a song because I think this is better. I'm gonna work on this fire song, and then you send it back, and it's like the other homie that you send it to is like, damn, it is better than the one I sent him. And then it's just a constant growth and like competition. That's why I think I say I'm the best at what I do. Just because my homies have raised me like that, and I've raised my homies like that, and we raised each other as a pack to be, I'm better than you, we're the best. And then it becomes like, it's not even an ego trip. It's like, damn, you are really good at it. And then you just see who's really about that same competition, who's really on that same mindset. And you start, my fault, you start weeding out who's doing shit. And it's like, you get the best of the best, really.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful. With your projects, they feel conceptual, but they also feel like they can be an easy, normal listen. How much of your music has layered concepts behind it? Are you a concept artist? Like, what's going on with it?
I think I try to let the music breathe. Even when we're creating the albums, I don't think I have a set sound or anything. We're usually just creating, and then in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is dope. Put together this story, and then this and that. But like I always say, this music shit is collaborative and a community thing. So even after I finish it and think about it, I try not to put the main idea of the project too much on it until after I drop it and people tell me how it made them feel. Because then I'll be like, okay, that relates to what I was thinking. That relates to how I felt. And then I start conjuring a like main idea, and maybe like 6 months after the project come out, I'll be like, this project meant this, and it was this for me, and this is what it was. And usually I let it go like that, because I think sometimes when I try to like set a concept too early, it fucks up the whole like beauty of making the music, because then I'm like, that's not what I want, or that's not what I want.
It doesn't fit the picture.
For sure, exactly. And then really when you come to find out, like the picture is what you created regardless of what you put together or how you did it. So
right.
Yeah.
What are some if I say like talk classic albums, what's a few albums that come to your mind in general? Like someone who made a classic album you wouldn't skip on. It could be from any age, any era, any genre.
Channel Orange is definitely like, I don't know, it's just top tier.
Yeah.
For me, there's 454. His most, don't quote me on the name of the most, like, it's not his most recent album, but it was the album probably 2021. One of my favorites. What's another album that? Sylvia Demo with Isaiah Rashad. That's definitely a head to toe joint. Yeah, it's a classic. Good Kid, Mad City.
Of course.
Get Rich or Die Trying for me was definitely like a shift, even for my homie like that. I think that when we heard that album, it was like, oh shit, like, this isn't just rap anymore. This is like, we can be cool as fuck. Like we can literally.
There's a sauce on it. You're like,
high key. So that, and then let me give one more. I think the most recent album, this might sound kind of cliche, but that kind of changed my whole, not even like as a rapper or anything, or just like in me, and it wasn't even changing, it was reassurance of just being an artist, was Andre 3000's most recent album with him with the flute. I was like, okay, we can really do whatever the fuck we want. And nobody at the beginning, people might be like, ew, what is this? But people are gonna listen because we are like creatures hungry for the ambition. We're hungry for the art. So like when we just hear something, you can hate on it, but that's just gonna happen, or you're gonna love it, or sometimes you might have to be listening to it in a moment. And so that's like, I think that's my last album. I might come back and send you a text later and be like, hey, there's these 4, but those are the main
good
ones.
Yeah, I put you on the spot. You good.
You're good.
Well, that's funny because like you said with the 3K album, people are so invested. He's already proven what he can do as an MC. He's done classic stuff. He's a legend. He's in people's top 5 with basically no discography.
For sure.
But he said, here's a glimpse into a side of me I've never given ever. And I think that alone, him showing a side of him as a person that you've never seen, he toured it. He toured that album. And he described his
still
tour.
is doing pop-up shows for it.
Yeah, he described his tour, and I was in tears laughing because he was like, bro, I don't actually know how to play this thing. He was like, every show is literally different.
And I saw that was on that interview that he did, right? And that's why when I heard him say that, it was something I've been wanting to just like get to every artist out there, because I've seen like, not so much my homies, but people my peers that I see outside in this industry, they struggle with like what am I gonna be, or like what can I do, or like how can I impress,
right?
And for me, like him saying that was like,
it showed you where he's really at on the spectrum.
For
you
sure.
know? He's like, look, this is I was already doing this. I just recorded it this time.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And I'm letting you guys get a look at it. But when I'm playing at the crib, I'm not rehearsing the same thing over and over. I'm expressing myself.
For sure.
I'm expressing myself on tour now.
Yes.
That's it. You know, and what's funny is when he raps, he was almost the opposite. He was like,
yeah,
what am I going to tell y'all? I'm scared. I'm like, man, he's moving on the spectrum through his art.
Yeah.
And we're all like that. You know, maybe as a producer, you're thinking more. You're overthinking.
For sure.
But as an MC, you're like, I'm floating. I can go wherever, you know? And you're the same thing with him in the flute. So it's interesting to hear, as an artist, with certain outlets you feel more confident in, other outlets you overthink in, you know, and mastering, using them all at the right times, you know. I think that's how you make your best albums.
Yes.
50 Cent going, I don't have to just talk hard. I'm going to sing on this hook now.
100%. Yeah.
I'm going to talk to y'all in my low voice. Like
And
I'm still gangster because y'all know me. Yeah. So it's like he really got his best projects from doing that. Because his early mixtapes, he wasn't doing none of that.
For sure.
And I don't know. You know what's funny is I think Ja Rule's a reason
to step out. Because like you have to at one point. And people will shoot it down. People like to separate it with commercial or like pop. But even with even with my last album, I wouldn't consider it pop. But I think my average listener would listen to it and say that you took a different route. That's like pop-ish. But I think at the root of it, you'll listen to it and be like on the side of, oh no, this sounds like still him, but amplified and experimenting with more music, you know, because I think that's what we have to do as artists. Like whatever you like, whatever you love, you should go experiment with it, especially if you're a creator. Like if you like rock, if you like indie, if you like foreign pop or something, go experiment and make that shit. And then you might make your own sound. Just do like, if you're doing something foreign, and not saying in the sense of like overseas, but just foreign to like the natural ear or the common ear, what's happening, then you might blow up just because people will be like, wow, that's enticing a certain part of my taste buds that I want to just listen to every day, just because, you know. And then like you said, it goes into the character after, where people want to really invest and keep a part of it. So
So what's the next couple years look like for you? What's coming up next? Obviously, you just dropped something. You wanna plug that real quick?
Shay. So yeah, we just dropped, me and Shay on the beat. Shay, we dropped an album project, 15 songs on Even. Did a pre-release on Even, which is like a direct-to-consumer platform. Wanted to just see not say who was really fucking with us, but wanted to get numbers. Wanted to actually get solid numbers and not just sort of letting out to the crowds and seeing. And then date announcement soon on DSPs, but we'll be dropping on DSPs as well.
By the time this comes out, it might be out already,
well, the 27th.
possibly.
It'll be out the 27th. So, yeah, that'll be... We'll have that out, and... have a short film coming after that to sort of like speak on that, to sort of like breathe on that project. But man, what's really next is just trying to keep growing and working with my community and peers in this art, because like we talked earlier, I'm not too versed in the IE community or even sometimes with the community of like California in general. I think I've been so in my box. Even the city we live in, we call it the island or the isle, to where it's so cut off and it's in between everything, where you go there, you feel anybody that comes there, where you're from LA, Anaheim, you can be 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away. You're gonna drive there and be like, damn, I feel like I'm away from everything. Where are we? You know.
Yeah.
So I think that also speaks on the music and just how it's been. So yeah, like we're just trying to increase the music, increase the sound, make it better, keep expanding, working with more people, and see where it goes. So I'm just all along for the journey, really.
Okay. What if somebody wants to see you live in concert? How often does that happen? Where does it happen? What's that show like? Well,
promoters, like set us up, like get us more shows. But really, we've been doing a lot more personal shows, very secret. Not say secret, but it's like the shoot the text, and like we'll let you know like what the show. So we will in October be having like a release party show at Apartment 200, and we'll be having something at Blind Barber. Those will be like soon announced, and then I got some things on my belt trying to work out, and we'll see. So hopefully those will be good, and yeah, everybody will be able to see me live soon, and I think that's like gonna be a treat in itself.
That's gonna help. There's some artists that, and this doesn't mean talking about you, but there's some artists where, they have a base of fans. I play a record and I'm like, I don't really get it. Like, why do people love this guy so much? Then you go to their live show and you're like, oh, and then you go back to that same music and you go, oh. And sometimes the live show teaches you something about the music. And I feel like you're probably an artist whose show does something for the album as well. I've never seen you live, but I get that vibe from you that your live show probably brings something to the album.
That's what I hear. Usually a lot. I try to bring a different experience than what you heard there. I was telling the homie that I created the project with, like there's some, for example, we'll be recording and I'll like do a tone and he'd be like, bro, you should keep that in the song. But then I'll do it but then I'll actually keep a very mellow tone version of that.
A studio version.
Yeah, a studio version. I told him like when I perform, I will reiterate and do what you said, because sometimes people like that. They're going to hear this 24/7. And if I change that tone, if it made you feel like that, when people hear this out live, they're going to be like, oh shit.
Right.
Right. So, I try to like use those things, and not trying to pop my own collar, but I think my live shows, especially for the budget we have and with the production we do have, it's some of the best like music you can get right now. So
that makes me excited to see you live. I've been planning to see you live, but
and I'm gonna let you know every time now from here on out. Like let you know when we're performing and getting stuff going for sure.
Okay. What else? Let's talk about the short film for a moment. I haven't heard the album, but talk to me about the relationship between the project and the short film.
So, the short film is, I guess, in long story short, the short film is basically like, think of Michael Jackson's like Moonwalker. It's a way to explain the album visually for people who don't know how to listen. The best way to put it. For people who don't know how to listen, they can watch the visual album and see exactly what I was trying to say on screen. And we'll have, mainly the music videos will be distributed through the short film. So we'll drop the music videos, they'll be sort of woven and cohesive throughout the short film, and then after we'll drop them one by one on platforms. But yeah, bro, the short film is just a emphasis on what the story is about and a little bit more detail, because I can only say so much, and people can only see a certain side of my brain. So this is like another way for people to see what's going on in my brain.
This is, man, you're speaking a lot about something I talked to Curtis King about on his show, and it was if you're really making art, you're universe building, right?
For sure.
So
for sure.
Your visual, maybe there's I think of Childish Gambino. I think because the internet,
he's somebody I very much so look up to. Like when it comes to production,
there's a screenplay. There's music videos that take place in the universe. Then there's a short film that's a scene from the universe. Then there's an album that's and none of it is linear. All of it is just, you got to put puzzle pieces together.
But that's what people want.
Right.
Just like when you watch Marvel.
And it makes it stickier in such a short attention span world,
Exactly.
So,
and just like when we watch Marvel and we sit and watch that end credit scene because we want to see how it's going to lead and bleed into... We're not going to see the movie for the next 3 years, but we want to see how it can build on our universe and our minds so that we can keep this machine going. And that's what you have to do as an artist. Like, you have to keep the listener invested in your universe and sometimes you gotta find what the fuck like your aesthetic is. Not so much you have to fall into an aesthetic, but find out get out of your fucking mind, get out of your ego, and find out how other people look at you without your ego there. Like, see how people really genuinely look at you, and then play from there with your music. And I believe you can go far. You can really have a sandbox or whatever you want to do, because yeah, like that's what we're here for. That's what music is made for.
Yeah,
Fun.
I mean, you seem like you're born to be an artist, but
thank you, fam. Thank you.
let's also talk about how you seem to be passionate about universes, long form content. The average person is watching 7 seconds of content.
For sure.
How do you take a short film and go, hey guys, I watch TikTok?
Yeah, exactly.
Tap in, like,
and
how?
that's the
How do you
beauty.
do that?
That's exactly the beauty of it. Like, we have all these resources, all these platforms to do all that.
Yeah.
You can't put yourself in a box and be like, oh, I dropped this on Instagram so it can only go here. You dropped, for example, you could drop a short film on Patreon, have the whole hour on there, have it behind a paywall, $10. But then it's not like you're starving your fan base. You take 10 seconds from the short film, you take a minute from the short film, drop the minute on Instagram, drop 15. I'm giving away sauce right now. Drop 15.
That's what I'm here for.
Drop 15 seconds from the short film on TikTok, 10 seconds from the short film, and then build that thing, and then people are like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Go to Patreon, buy
So
the
you
fucking
baked a
shit.
giant cake, and then you was like, put a slice over there. put a slice over there, right?
Exactly. And people are like, where the fuck did you buy this cake
I want
from?
more cake.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Right.
so that's like the goal with just trying to build and keep people interested. And I think some people get caught up in like our, the big three and like the other people.
Yeah.
And don't understand that you can build that universe for yourself.
Right.
They're doing that right now, and that's why you're so invested in what they're doing. You as a artist that nobody gives a fuck about, because I'm somebody nobody gives a fuck about right now. But as that artist, you have to give a fuck so that
You gotta act like, well, you do have people who care.
Yeah,
And those
no, 100%,
people,
100%.
And like you said, you just wanted to know how many recently, and now you know there
For
are
sure.
people who do.
there is.
And so you do have to still take care and care about even just those few people, because before you know it, that number will double, triple, quintuple.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, you're on the right track. That's why I'm asking these questions. You know, just see what you're doing about
For
this.
sure.
This
for
is a problem
sure.
for most people.
Yeah.
What you doing?
yeah, and you got to do something. You have to do something.
Otherwise, you get caught up in the angry artist mode. You know,
For sure. And I think one of my biggest advice to anybody that is listening is like, the biggest thing you could do, we might have formulas, you might have your own way of doing things, I might have my own way of things. We might, every single person on the earth might give you advice, might give you tips, but I think the biggest thing you can do, and this isn't even advice or tip, just go do it. Just do it. Do it for yourself, not for nobody, just do it. That's, I think, what holds back everybody is not going to just do it. And once you do it, you start learning yourself, you learn your falls, you learn like your wins, you learn like where your armor's at, where your weaknesses are at, and you can kind of build from there, and you can become a stronger person, not just with the music shit, but better person in general. So.
right? All right, man. I feel like I learned a lot about you in a short amount of time.
Yeah, man.
That's cool. I'm more of a fan now than I was before.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah,
Cool.
man. And hopefully, just keep building and keeping the story, keeping people invested and keeping people, but genuinely invested in just building the story for the people that are fans, and then being that, growing as an actual person for my peers and like people that I look up to, like you and like my homie, and like people I want to, because I look up to my peers, I look up to people that are on that same level as me, because if we can suffice each day and do better, and we're regular, not say regular, but we are regular in the eyes of society, I think that shit is something to glorify and look up to. Those are the real heroes, because we really about to make it happen. Then once we crack out, everybody's like, oh, you guys are so amazing and great. It's like, no, we just did a lot of work.
Maybe it looked overnight to you.
Exactly.
Let me tell you how many nights.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
every day, every night, putting work, pulling my hair out. But
Making the drive, spending the
100%.
hours. Yeah. Well, shit, man. This was Tru Lee. We don't hear the music right now, but there will be some dope music playing right
yes.
now as we ride out.
Yes.
And I appreciate you, man. This
Thank
is
you,
For the
brother.
Record.
Thank you.
If you want to tell them your ads, your new
Yeah.
YouTube channel, any of that stuff, this is your
you-
opportunity.
You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff at official Tru Lee, TRULEE. YouTube is official Tru. Don't worry about the Lee. And yeah, let's keep it going. We're on the up and coming. Let's get it rocking out of here, dog.
We out of here.
Peace. Sheesh.